Hey, what's going on? Welcome back to the channel. So tonight we're going deep on three figures that I think belong together, not just on the shelf, but in the same conversation. And it's a conversation that gets interesting pretty quickly. Let's get into it. Daredevil, Punisher, Ronin. Same city, same enemies, completely incompatible ideas about what justice actually means. That tension is what I keep coming back to. These are all older releases. Hot Toys has moved on considerably since these came out, but age isn't the same as relevance. With Daredevil Born Again Season 2 behind us, and a second figure from the series on the way, it felt like the right time to come back to where it started for me. I should say upfront, this one's a bit personal. This was the first Hot Toys figure I ever bought, so coming back to it now, for this video, felt like the right place to start. And I'm aware that colors things slightly. There's a difference between the first figure you ever bought and the ones you picked up later. You sit with it longer, you handle it more, you learn its limits in a way you don't with the others. That's the lens this one comes through. The reason this figure was my first Hot Toys was the character. A man who carries genuine moral weight, who holds a line that costs him something every time. The John Pisano score didn't hurt. There's something about it that sounds exactly like him. Quiet and heavy at the same time. Matt Murdock is defined by restraint. He'll fight his way through a building full of people with broken ribs, blind, outnumbered, and running on fumes. But he won't kill anyone. That line he holds is the most interesting thing about him, because holding it costs him something every single time. And Born Again is going to put that line under real pressure again, which is part of why this felt like the right moment. The Season 2 suit is the one that matters. Darker, more deliberate. By that point, Matt Murdock has stopped pretending he can walk away from this. The armor is an admission. This is who he is now. The suit is matte throughout. It feels like something that belongs in the dark. The exception is the cowl, which has a slight gloss to it. That contrast actually works. It draws your eyes straight to the helmet, which is where it should be. What I keep coming back to with this figure is that the pose takes work. It rewards the time you put into it. Get the weight right, get the hands right, and the silhouette is genuinely impressive. The horns read from across the room. No face sculpt, just the helmet. For this character, that's the right call. The mask is the point. It's what Murdock puts on when he stops being a lawyer and accepts what he actually is. A couple of things worth knowing if you're handling this figure. The ankle joints and knees are both weak, the knees especially so, and the suit adds its own restriction on top of that. A deep crouch or one knee to the ground isn't really on the table. And pushing it risks damaging the figure. You're working with standing poses and a controlled forward lean. That's the realistic range. And the billy club wire isn't very pliable. It's almost like a piece of string rather than a proper wire. You can position it, but it won't hold a sharp shape the way the newer ones do. The box art has one detail I keep coming back to. The word Daredevil is printed in Braille on the box. The helmet, the horns, the stance. That silhouette still works. And what I keep coming back to with Matt Murdock, what the figure captures in a way I didn't expect, is the restraint. A man who could cross the line any night he chooses. The question is why he doesn't. That's the character. And this figure, even with its age, still holds that. Frank Castle is what happens when someone stops arguing with themselves. Murdoch fights that battle every night, the line he won't cross, the cost of holding it. Castle crossed it a long time ago and never lost sleep over it. That's not a failure of conscience, it's a different kind of conviction. He decided what he was, and he became it completely. His family was killed, and he decided, quite deliberately, what kind of person he was going to be after that. Not in anger, he's past anger, just a decision. He's a weapon pointed at a specific kind of target, and he doesn't deviate. Bernthal's performance in Season 2 is the best thing in the Netflix run. The rooftop scene, where he has Matt chained to a chimney and they argue the philosophy of it for 12 minutes, is genuinely exceptional television. The figure earns that association. The head sculpt is the thing that makes this figure. Not just accurate in a technical sense, but accurate to a specific mood. That particular flatness behind the eyes that Bernthal carries in every single Punisher scene. The damaged Daredevil helmet is what makes this display work. Frank Castle holding a broken Daredevil helmet. Place these two figures together and you don't need to explain the relationship to anyone who's watched Season 2. One thing that happened while I was handling this figure, the jacket coating started peeling off. The outer surface was sticky and coming away in sheets. This is the pleather breaking down. This is a 2017 release and Hot Toys was using polyurethane coated fabric for the jackets back then. I may still swap the body on this one and display it without the jacket entirely. For now it still looks possible from a distance, more like a textile than leather. And if you're buying this second hand, that jacket is a gamble. The Punisher packaging has a braille detail as well. Not Punisher, not Frank Castle, just Frank. His name, before everything else happened to him. I thought that was a very considered thing to put on the box. The body is another matter. The knees are weak. Same problem as Daredevil. The elbows are solid though. They feel ratcheted and they hold position well. But there's no double bend articulation, and the elbow joints are visible the moment the coat comes off. For a figure built around a tactical look, that's something you notice. In the meantime, an aftermarket body swap is something I'm looking into for this one. So if you've owned this figure and you've already gone down that road, I'd genuinely like to hear what worked for you. Frank Castle is a hard figure to sit with, not because of anything Hot Toys did wrong, because of what the character is. A man who decided that grief was good enough reason and never really questioned it. The Bernthal face captures that, the flatness behind the eyes, that's still there. The jacket's a known issue, the pleather from this era didn't hold, and this one is no exception. But that aside, if this character means something to you, the figure earns its place on the shelf. Ronin is in this lineup partly because I was watching Echo while waiting for Born Again episodes to land, and the more time I spent with that arc, the more interesting it got. Clint Barton lost his entire family in the snap, and then he spent 5 years working his way around the world, executing criminals, people who'd survived when his family hadn't. Echo gives you the other side of that. Maya Lopez watching Ronin move through her community. He wasn't a dark hero to the people in his path. He was just damage. And the thing that makes the character worth thinking about is that he came back from it. That's not a small thing. This is the most photogenic figure of the three. The all black with the gold trim is a strong combination. There's nothing competing for your eye. Two things worth flagging if you're handling this figure. The vest zipper is a pain point. The bottom section that holds the zip in place, the stopper piece, completely vanished. Getting the zip to close and stay aligned was tedious. It's technically zipped now, but it's not aligned properly because of that missing piece. The floor sits beneath the belt, so it's possible on display. And the armor piece on the jacket, this plasticky panel, came loose. The glue holding it down dried out over time. I've superglued it back, but it's not the cleanest job. There's excess glue I still need to clean up. Both are things you'll run into if you're posing this figure regularly. The Renner likeness is good, not quite at the level of the Bernthal sculpt, but good. Side profile is the angle where it reads best. And the hair, Hot Toys has recreated Renner's Ronin haircut with complete accuracy. Whether that's a compliment to the Hot Toys or a question for the Marvel hair department, I'll leave that open. The bow defined Hawkeye. Distance, precision, control. Ronin carries a sword. That shift isn't tactical, it's what grief looks like when it stopped caring about restraint. Ronin, all black, no symbol, no face. That was the point. Clint Barton didn't want to be found, not by the people he was hunting and not by the people who knew him. Hawkeye keeps his distance, Ronin didn't. Same man, same discipline, just pointed somewhere much darker for a while. And the thing about Clint is that he came back from it, not fixed, not clean, but back. That's actually what makes him worth thinking about compared to Frank. Frank never came back. Clint chose to. The figure doesn't tell you that, but if you know the story, it's in there. What's interesting when you put these three on a shelf together is that they look like they belong in the same world, but they've each arrived at completely different answers. Daredevil rewards patience. You get out of him what you put in. Punisher doesn't ask for anything, he just dominates whatever space he's in. But they also sit differently in terms of what they're about. Daredevil is about a line he won't cross. Punisher crossed that line so long ago he doesn't remember where it was, and Ronin is the most interesting one, because he found his way back. If you're deciding between these, start with the character, the one that means something to you. That's the only answer that holds up, not just for these three, for any figure. Buy the character, not the hype. If it doesn't mean something before you open the box, it probably won't mean something after. For me, it's always been Daredevil. That probably comes through. Anyway, these are three figures worth having if the characters mean something to you, and if you watched this far, I suspect at least one of them does. I'll see you in the next one.